Hi guys, it's Tina, and I just want to share something with you today. For our honeymoon, my husband and I decided to take a snorkeling excursion. Now, I am not a huge fan of large bodies of water. I can swim. My mother put us in the YMCA classes when we were younger, so I know how to swim and, survive for a short period of time in water. Large bodies of water are sort of intimidating to me. And so this was my chance to be adventurous because my husband is the adventurous one in this relationship. So we get out to the beach, and the guide is telling us about the equipment, and we get this really fast lesson on putting on the equipment, and you do this, and then you walk out, and you do this, and the lesson was pretty quick. And before you know it, we're walking out following the guide, and it all was happening too fast for me. So I'm walking beside my husband, and we're walking out to get to deeper areas in the ocean, and I'm asking questions, and Courtney's answering my questions and trying to keep me calm. But we get to a certain point where I can no longer feel feel the sand on my feet. I can no longer feel the bottom. And so I turn to him and I say, are your feet still touching the bottom? Are you? And he has now zoned out. He's not listening to me anymore because he knows that I'm about to panic. And so he's going to let me just experience this without feeding into my anxiety. And so I'm really starting to feel anxious. And there's a couple in front of us, and the male in the couple arrangement is anxious, just like me. Well, he turns around and says, I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, and starts swimming back. And as panic is, or anxiety is, it's very contagious or infectious. And so I start to feed into his panic, and I'm thinking, you're right, I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody either. And so I decide I can't do this. And I turned to Courtney and I said, I'm scared. I'm turning around, and I start to swim. Now the current is pretty high that day. It's pretty heavy. So we're all. It was even in our instruction. We're all sort of fighting the current or pushing against the current. And so as I turn around and I'm starting to swim back, I notice that it's just a little bit harder, and I really start to panic. So I'm using every skill I learned in my YMCA classes, and by now I'm really starting to wonder if I'm going to make it back to the beach. I couldn't really even see the beach anymore. I think it was because I was panicking. And so I start to yell out to Courtney, come get me, come get me. And he's trying to get to me, but the current's pushing him back, and it looks like he's not moving fast enough to get to me. And I notice that he's saying something. He keeps hollering something. And so I calm down just enough so I can hear the instruction that he's trying to give me. And he says, stand up, stand up. And I stand up, and the water comes slightly above my knee. Now, I'm a tall girl. I'm 5'10" and a half, and the water comes slightly above my knee. I could have drowned in water that came slightly above my knee because of my panic. Now, of course, I feel slightly ridiculous, and I know that my panic and anxiety had me in a situation that I wasn't supposed to be in. But I was thinking, well, perception is reality. It's my reality. I felt like I was in 18 feet of water. And I hear people say that all the time. Perception is reality. But what if I told you not exactly? What if I told you that the eyes that we see the world, our reality, our perception, is skewed, altered, affected by our past experiences, affected by our emotions, by our core beliefs? And some of you are holding on to perceptions so tightly, you're not even willing to recognize that your vision is skewed. You're not willing to listen to anything else because that's your reality, and you like to say that all the time. Perception is reality. So my desire is that you challenge your perception with people outside your friend circle too, because we all know that our friends think a lot like us. Challenge your perception. And unless you want to drown in 2 feet of your reality, then I suggest you stand up. Stand up.